Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But it comes at a price. Samantha Horwitz and John Salerno work with police departments across the country to bring valuable recovery, insight resources, and workshops. A Badge of Honor TV brings those professionals to you so we can come together and revitalize communities through a better understanding of what's at stake and what's required for repair. So take a load off and turn up your TV. It's about to get real.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam. On this very special Mental Health Monday, we are powered by the OBBM Network, and you can catch us on all your streaming platforms across the internet. Hey, welcome, Sam. How are you?
Hey, doing great. And speaking of streaming platforms, hey, Instagram family, thank you so much for tuning in. Please let us know through the chat if you're able to, whether the screen, we're coming through all blue apparently, and some kind of connection with Facebook. So we're entering again I'll say a point in time where not all platforms are appreciative of the kind of information that we bring to you all and that we talk about on the show, because they have their agendas. And well, frankly, we have ours, which is the truth 100% of the time, and bringing forward organizations and businesses that do the right thing.
You know, we're going into post-traumatic stress, PTSD or PTSI Awareness Month. We're coming off Memorial May, and now we're coming into this Awareness Month. You know, Sam, I don't know if you saw this, but on one of my lives we did for Carry the Load, we got a really disparaging comment. I don't know. Did you see it?
I didn't see, I kind of thumbed through because, John, you put up so much amazing content. So if anybody, first of all, if you're not following John Salerno on his Facebook and Instagram, those are where the reels that John's talking about.
Yeah, it was it was brought up in the live in a very disparaging, very vulgar manner. Which had some truth behind it, which I will give the guy who said this, who had some truth behind it about with Carry the Load and Memorial Day being about our veterans. And he's 100% right. Our first responders have their police week, and veterans and the veterans that have passed are for Memorial Day. But what Carry the Load does, it encompasses everybody who has lost their lives in the line of duty. And that's veterans first and first responders alike. No family should do without. And it's because they hold that on Memorial Day. It's not a Memorial Day celebration or it's part of Memorial May. So I want everybody to get the gist of that. It's not all about Memorial Day. They're not celebrating or honoring Memorial Day for veterans. Carry the Load, what they're doing is they're honoring all families who have lost loved ones. So just if that guy is listening, man, it was nothing to do with Memorial Day. It was something to do that Carry the Load encompasses all families and honors all families who have lost in the line of duty, be it veteran or first responder. So I understand you didn't like that live, but we feel for everybody, not just our veterans, but everybody who loses somebody who is serving our country, our city, our states, and our communities.
Yes, and one of the things to remind folks is a lot of veterans also continue their service as first responders and then lose their lives as first responders. So they are memorialized in both aspects.
Correct.
So it does cross the line. And you know what? Tonight we're going to deep dive. We're revisiting the topic of school security. If you missed our first show with Allegiance Project Foundation, you can go back and rewatch that after this show, because we're kind of going to bring everybody up to speed, because what Allegiance Project Foundation does is provide the services, school security, at no cost. But however, and we'll get Matthew to correct everything that I just said. They do this through Allegiance Project Security. So they have a foundation and a security. And what we're going to focus on tonight is that security aspect, because look, schools are targets. It's not like when you and I were in high school when the worst thing was a really bad fist fight. Now we've got the active shooters, and people are, I'm going to say, when you dissect it, people are dying unnecessarily. A lot of the training is not up to speed. I think the private schools are a little bit more prepared if they are going with the private security teams like Allegiance Project Security. And we're going to talk about that. So without further ado, let's bring on Matthew, Easter, and Luis and Rachel from Allegiance Project Security.
Welcome.
Hey guys, how are you tonight?
Welcome.
Great.
Great.
Can y'all hear me?
We can. Can you hear
I'm
us,
having an
Matthew?
issue hearing y'all.
You can't hear us? All of a sudden, do you want to disconnect your feed and come back on? And we'll start with Luis and Rachel. Can you all hear us? Okay. And we can hear you typing.
Yeah. Yeah, we can hear you.
No, still not good. Okay. I'll get to him in private chat. While we're doing that, waiting for Matthew, Luis and Rachel, whichever one of you wants to start, please introduce yourselves to everybody watching and listening on their favorite podcast app.
Awesome. Yeah. My name is Louis Saucedo. I'm a 21-year Army vet. Did most of my time in special operations with the 75th Ranger Regiment. Spent most of my time classically as a sniper. Did a stint in AMU, Army Marksmanship Unit, and then as a trainer. And then after that, I did some intel work at the very end. Got out in 2023. And then my esteemed leader picked me up. And ever since then, he pitched me the plan, told me what it was about. And then it made sense, a lot of sense to me, especially with us having 7 children. So I decided to jump on, and then thereafter I talked my lovely wife into, not like she had enough to do, talked her into joining the cause for safety in schools and churches.
So I think, Rachel, that was the tag that you just got to come on in and introduce yourselves to everybody watching and listening.
That's it. So my name is Rachel Saucedo. I am closing in on about 20 years in federal law enforcement. I've spent my entire career in the federal system, so criminal investigations. When I'm not busy at work as a federal agent, again, we have 7 children, which all keep us very busy, mostly daughters. So they're not trying to destroy things, but we are trying to raise them into good human beings. And yeah, same thing. Like when my husband got involved with the organization, it kind of was the natural move that it wasn't just him as the ad, it was both of us as the ad, both as individuals in the gun carrying profession, and then also very involved parents in a large and active family.
Awesome. That's family that protects together. That's what it's all about. And teaching your kids how to protect themselves as well.
So she's actually left a little bit out. She's also on the spare time that she doesn't have. She's a Girl Scout troop leader.
Of course she is.
Who teaches a bunch of girls about everything from being a young lady. One of my daughters is involved with it, with the troop, but not only being a young lady, but gun safety. She's that troop leader that's always like, why? What do you mean we can't carry guns? Why not? Like, so very, very, she doesn't give herself enough credit that she is an extremely busy woman, but extremely dedicated.
I'd hate to be the boyfriend and walk in that house though. Boy,
Yeah, no, we've already gone through that. It was very entertaining.
Interrogation time.
So my father was a 31-year veteran of Dallas Police Department. And then my brother also works for an intelligence agency. And I think all of us were here at one time when the first boyfriend walked in, and it was like, hey man, like we already have the hole picked out.
Why are you sweating so much?
And nobody here is gonna help you out here. So yeah, very very dynamic family.
Wow. That's those young men have heavy lifts to.
Hey, if they can knock on the door, they probably know what they're getting into. If they're brave enough to knock on the door, you think, all right, they're good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, Matthew, everything good with AV?
Everything's great now.
All right, now, great. So, tell us a little bit about you. And actually, I'm just getting an alert on the screen. We got to take our first break. When we come back, Matthew, you're going to lead off and give folks your background and then why you founded the company. So we'll be right back after these messages. Stay tuned, everybody.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% US-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
Hey, well,
Okay, you want to join Patriot Mobile. Why, John?
because they give you free service for the first month, and they use all the big time carriers at a lower price.
That is 100% true. And for all of you first responder and military families out there, and it goes for all the kiddos that are on your plan, they offer an amazing discount. So right now, go to patriotmobile.com/badge, and you can fill out the information, and a member of the team will get back to you at your scheduled appointment time that you make, or you can call 972-PATRIOT. Give them, again, that promo code badge, because that will get you your free month of service where you can try it out. So if it doesn't work for you, you can go back to one of those big 3, but just remember, they don't really care what, they're going to do what their money, the way they want to, not the way you and your values want your money to fund. So again, 972-PATRIOT, promo code badge, or patriotmobile.com/badge. Now back to the show.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam. We have Matthew, Lewis, and Rachel with the Allegiance Project Security. We're talking about school safety, and there's really nothing more important than protecting the lives of our children, protecting the safety and security of our children. We want to send our kids off to school, and we want them to be safe. We want to be able to ensure that they come home in the same way that they went to school, and you guys are really providing that service. So Matthew, we took the break and we got you back on. Tell us more about the project that you founded.
Yeah, so my background's in leadership. I was a leadership consultant, really helping a lot of other people run their businesses. I've worked in the security industry for close to about 20 years. And after the events of Uvalde, that's kind of where everything got real, especially for people here in Texas. My wife's an elementary school teacher, so school safety hits really close to home. So for a lot of parents, they're concerned about school safety while their kids are in school, and then they're not as concerned about it after their kids graduate, by and large. But this is something that's never going to go away for me. This is always going to be something that I've got to worry about. So I founded Allegiance Project Foundation as a solution to 2 major issues that the state was facing after the events of Uvalde. So lawmakers in Austin did what they do best. They passed new laws and mandates. Things that every school needs. So emergency operations plans, multidisciplinary threat assessment teams, active shooter policies, and armed personnel on site. And I thought for a moment, they're finally getting serious about this. This is going to change. But they passed those mandates without funding. So initially they were passed with only $15,000 per school. So it was back to square one again. And not only the issue of funding is there, but the lack of law enforcement. There's a shortage nationwide, and especially here in the state of Texas, we have over 1,200 school districts in Texas alone. So you can't staff that, even if you tried. And you have a lot of law enforcement agencies that are shorthanded. So I wanted to come up with a solution for both of these major issues, one with the funding and then adding the correct personnel that should be protecting schools. And that's obviously our combat veterans. So
Matthew, did you ever get to read those laws that were passed? Did you ever get to see? Because $15,000 definitely seems like I mean, that's really not a lot of money. What were they thinking when they passed that? Did you ever get to dig deep into that?
So I did initially when House Bill 3 was enacted. It provided $15,000 per school and $100 per student, and then had a list of mandates. So they weren't really focusing on the solution. They were just passing mandates saying, well, schools are going to figure it out. If you know how school districts operate, they rob Peter to pay Paul, because they're on a fixed budget and they can apply for grants, but that's not the way it works all the time. I talk to a lot of parents and they say, well, school districts should be fine because they just built this new stadium and they're building all these new schools. They should have enough money. People don't realize that comes from bonds. So the school applies for that bond. That's not out of their operational budget. So if they get that bond, that money can only be spent on building that new stadium or that new school. So it helps schools bring in more students, which gets them more funding, but it doesn't solve the overall issue. House Bill 33 was then passed last year, and that bumped it up to $35,000 per school, but added new mandates with it.
That still seems low for just private security, just unarmed. Sounds like that wouldn't even that price tag wouldn't even cover the cost for one man unarmed for a yearly salary. No. I mean, so we do have to do more, and you guys are really taking the high road and leading the pack too, so we do not have another Uvalde incident.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then solving that issue with funding was the first thing that we really spent time trying to develop. What does this look like? How does that work? So I developed a nonprofit with a security company underneath it. So our nonprofit owns our security company outright. So 100% of our profits from any security work that we get goes to feed into our school safety initiatives. And what our nonprofit is able to do is now apply for grants, get funding, and create private donor links for schools specifically. So we can create a custom donor link. That way the local community can support that school through tax deductible donations. And then we give that money as a grant to the school to offset their cost in other areas. Like say if they're paying for licensing, for access control systems, security systems, if they have a director of security that they have to pay at the school, that money can go towards those things. And then it makes our security company that much more affordable.
That's
yes. And you mentioned something very key. And you mentioned the word community several times. And it does take a community to be invested in their school districts. John and I, we have kids that are long outside, gone from the school districts. However, when you look at, and it's always after the crime, after the shooting has happened, after whatever the attack is on the school, and you look at what occurred, if folks in the community would keep their eyes and ears open, we always realize in the Monday morning quarterback that there were signs everywhere. In the Secret Service, this is what we used to do for a long time. In New York, we went into the school systems. We talked about this. The Secret Service to this day publishes school security and findings based upon what has occurred, the major incidents. But how do you keep a community involved, or I don't like to use the word convince, but help them understand that they need to be involved. If your kid is at school, 100% you need to be involved as a parent. But even after they graduate, how do you handle that?
Well, I think with the events that we do and bringing people into the equation, doing podcasts like this and getting people more invested in local community support is the only way that you can do it. The whole goal behind this was bridging the gap between local communities and schools, because this ultimately is a community problem. And community problems can't be solved with mandates. They take community solutions. So when people ask me, what's the solution to school safety all the time, I correct them and I say, you mean, what are the solutions to school safety? You're asking a one-dimensional question that really is a four-dimensional solution. I mean, it takes a grassroots effort. It takes getting people involved, doing more community outreach, and doing more like safety seminars for local communities. And that's really how you get people engaged. Is you have to first empower them and show them that they can actually do something about this. And that's where the whole model comes from, is being able to support a nonprofit that's directly focused on protecting schools and helping with the safety of our schools. So I think that the first answer or the best answer is showing them that there is something that they can do, and really empowering community members.
And Luis and Rachel, with your kids in school and you guys being active, I mean, the buy-in is right there. How do you talk to parents or even the friends of your kids about school security, and maybe, hey, maybe talk to your mom or dad about this to help get them involved?
I think that kind of lends to our earlier discussion about being in Girl Scouts and actually we had kind of a funny story come up. We go camping, Girl Scout camp. It's a very safe environment, but some of our girls, we're out in the forest, we're in cabins, there's a big group of us, but some of the girls have made a comment, well, what if somebody comes and finds us? And my daughter was like, no, you don't understand, my mom's here, we're good. The girls are running around and playing in the riverbed, and my girls are kind of like the champions of situational awareness and taking care of your own safety. And then we have fireside chats with the moms, because our group is super close. We have just as many moms come out to our camping events as we do at Girl Scouts. And most of them are school teachers. And so we'll sit there and they're asking me questions about like, okay, well, we talked about this in training. We've seen this. I'm seeing these behavioral signs with my students. What should I be aware of? And so they're coming at it from I'm a teacher, I'm invested in my students, I'm invested in them and my children as well. And then I'll kind of give them information as, well, here's the law enforcement side, here's the personal security side, here's how you can engage your school administration. Even so much as, the moms are like, hey, can you take us shooting? Like, hey, can you teach us, like, if something happened in our school, what do we look for? They give us the basic training, but what else can we be looking for? So it's very much a holistic approach. It's even my coworkers. I have coworkers, they're in law enforcement, but they're not parents. They're just as much invested because they know what it's like to have nieces and nephews going to school. So they're volunteering at their, family members' schools. And I think that is the continual push to engage everybody in the community to realize just because it's not your son or daughter, we all are invested in the success and safety of the schools in our community.
That is great to hear. John, we're going to leave people on a cliffhanger with your next question. We got to take a quick break and we'll come right back. Stay tuned, everybody.
Look, when you need to respond to an aggressive situation to protect yourself, your family, or your property, understanding your firearm and legal position are critical. Officers know your skills are only as good as your commitment to training. So know what you're doing. So when you're in a vulnerable situation, we can count on your response. Whether you're a beginner or a licensed gun carrier, Carry in Texas offers basic firearms training, Texas permitless carry courses, license to carry, and basic 2A courses so you can understand the responsibilities, situational awareness, and learn the technical skill required when you carry your firearm. Go to carryintexas.com to find the right course for you. Join me, former United States Secret Service agent Samantha Horwitz, on the range for beginner basics, LTC prep, and range practice. Go to carryintexas.com today. That's carryintexas.com.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam on this Mental Health Monday. And we're talking about mental health. We're also talking about the safety and security of our children across the state of Texas. And we have the Allegiance Project Security team here with us, discussing, Rachel, and I know I'm going to be told to bite my lip because this is, and I just can't sometimes. When you talk about situational awareness and the way you get to talk to those parents at those campfire sit downs, and it seems like all the parents are engaged and they want to learn more, right? Is it the school boards? I mean, are we looking at school boards that will squash a lot of things because of it's not politically correct to say situational awareness, or it's not politically correct to have a child be able to look over and
you mean lock yourself in the classroom during an active shooter is the best solution? Yeah.
You look at some of these school boards and I see them on YouTube where they're fighting with the parents. The parents want better for their kids, and the school board just keeps knocking them down until they get frustrated and they don't go anymore. They just want like one of those little hooks on our school board doors and say, "Oh, we're all good," or we want a guy with a little star like Barney Fife badge, and that's gonna stop a campus of 1,600 to 2,000 people. That's not the world we live in anymore. And school boards have to take reality, and they have to start looking at reality. And what you guys are doing is trying to bring that to them. And I hope they listen.
I think that's what. Yeah. So I think I got the answer to this. Sorry, Matt, if you want to answer.
Tag in.
And this is something that we've discussed a lot of the times. So I generally go and I talk to administrators, stuff like that. A lot of the times what it comes down to is price. What they're asking. So if you take a normal guard, a lot of them aren't very trained. They're about $19 an hour, which is about like the standard price for a level 3 guard in Texas. What the school boards are expecting is a Corvette. They want somebody who's trained in hostage rescue. They want somebody who can go in, neutralize a threat, or at least keep them busy while there's students in there. I think what the school board doesn't understand is that our most precious assets are our children. So if our most precious assets are our children, why are you spending the least amount of money to guard them? The second thing, and this is, I come from a long line of Leos. Again, my wife is law enforcement. We just came from Police Week, and we trained out there. We got invited to train out there with them. And I can't tell you, top-notch training. The best training the ranch, I think, I've ever seen outside of Tier 1 military groups. And what I'll say is that it really got me thinking about this. That's probably the officers that went there. There's about 500 officers that went there. Out of that's 500 in Texas, where there were some from Utah, some from all over the country. 500 out of how many, Leos? So what you're talking about is probably the top 1 to 2% of law enforcement that's out at that training, really putting in the work, 8-hour days in the heat, shooting 12-hour days. On a Saturday night, we did 2 classes, and then we did a night shoot all the way to 1 a.m. These guys are committed to the cause, and these are the guys that you want in those schools doing that stuff. But here's the issue, and this was the talk through the whole thing, was that what does SWAT do? The SWAT responds to something. So SWAT's generally cleaning up a mess. They're going in there, neutralizing a threat that's already happened. Who's generally running into that? It's the patrolman. Right. How much SWAT training do patrolmen get? Absolutely none. How much tactical training does they get? They don't get any. In fact, I've had a friend that complained to me about it, saying that, hey, we don't get we're the first ones that respond to that. We don't get that kind of training. So when we're talking to administrators about that, they'd rather go with that one SRO that's probably at the end of his career, probably counting those time. Not his fault. He's had his time. He's not the young lion anymore. He's waiting. So is that the guy that we really want there? The other thing too is that a couple of weeks ago, about 2 months ago, I was at a church, and funny story, I'm at a church. My wife and 7 children are at that church. I'm the guard there. I'm the level 3 guard. I pull shifts when some of our guys are out. So what ends up happening is a swatting call. I look over after I put my kids into daycare, after I'd gone and put my wife and children into the sanctuary. And as soon as I look over, a police officer with a long gun, 2 of them, come into the front entrance and they're sneaking in like something's happening. I immediately pull my pistol, look over, yell, "Hey, what's going on?" He goes, "There's a shooter in the building." First thing I do is run in the sanctuary, start getting everybody up, start getting everybody out. Those 2, we end up having to clear it. Luckily, all it is a swatting incident. But the one thing that we noticed about them is that they had 1 officer that was decently, very well trained, 2 officers that were not so trained with long guns. And then there was me with a pistol. And they allowed me to clear with them, realized that I knew what I was doing. And so we integrated pretty much flawlessly with that department in clearing and trying to remove that threat. Now, is that always the case? No, because you get what you pay for at these school districts. And so really administrators need to look at is what's the cost of this? Well, the cost of it is children. What do you want it when the evening news comes on and says, "What did you do about this?" The cost is you standing out there and your districts there say, "Well, it wasn't financially viable for us to hire the right people."
Right.
Elite Projects is here to say that we have the right people, and we are trying to make it as viable as humanly possible for you to get the right guys at the right time. Combat vets are perfect. We have a very good vetting process for them, and we have very good training for them. Are they your Ferraris? They're pretty close to it.
You guys are literally changing the standards when it comes to what our kids deserve. And you're absolutely right. It is frustrating. You can go to a school board meeting in any city in Texas, I think, on any given night, and you want to tear your hair out because it's like they have kids in school too. They're elected to this position and their brains fly out of their heads half the time. When we come back from our next break, let's talk about Louis, you started to touch on it, the vetting process and why I'll call it tier 1 operators or our special operators are perfect for the security landscape at our schools. We will be right back after these messages, everybody. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Interested in starting a podcast or TV show? Worried about what you'll say and how to keep it engaging? Think you'd like to be a guest on podcast, radio, or TV shows? Hi, I'm Susan Hamilton, owner and founder of OBBM Network, and I would like to invite you to an OBBM media training to get the tools you need for a relaxed and polished performance you'll be proud to share. Our specialized training techniques include role play, voice training, and everything you need to deliver a confident, clear, and engaging interaction. Go to offbeatbusiness.com. Go to the calendar and register for a training that's convenient for you. Dates available now, 214-714-0495.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam. We are here with the Allegiance Project with Matthew, Louis, and Rachel. Sorry, and Rachel. Before we take the next break, we're talking about the value of a child's life in our schools. And you can't put a price tag on a child's life. When you look at these small little communities where they go, "Oh, well, that can't happen here. We don't need that much security." Well, you do. And you guys are providing it with top tier security personnel, trained security personnel that's able to handle a situation before it escalates. And Louis, you're going to tell us about some of the things that you got going on with your top tier security team.
Yes. So, the guys I said before the break, these guys are very well trained. What our model is we're bringing a lot of these guys out and catching them probably at the end of their service. Shout out to Three Rangers Foundation. We're part of that. I'm a mentor for them. And what we do is that when these guys come out and they're coming out of these organizations, they're definitely looking for work. Now, is being a security guard their life's ambition after this? Probably not. But we give them that kind of space to take that transition and put the way on their own terms. So what that is that like instead of ripping it away, that identity away from them right at the time you sign for your DD 214, we say, hey, come to us. You're going to be out on the range training. You're going to be working out. You're going to be in a place that matters, that people appreciate you. I have never gotten so many thanks, even as I was surprised as a guard, from people who are just genuinely happy to see you there and thank you for being there, because it's protection. That means that they're protected. You're the one that's going to throw themselves in. These guys coming out have spent a lifetime deciding. So we always use Uvalde as the example. That is a terrible time for that officer, and I don't fault him for it, is finding out that you're not about that life at that door when that is going on. That is a terrible time to realize this wasn't the profession for me. These guys have made that decision long ago about whether they were going to go through that breach or not. And every time they are through that breach, every single time for years on end, now we're just giving them another reason to do that. And so we really want to tell people that these guys are committed to the safety of not just the children, but everybody. And they will fight basically to the death to defend that.
You're covering two aspects too. You're covering the safety of our children, plus you're providing further purpose. When we talk about mental health, you're giving further purpose to our veterans and our well-trained personnel that, when the music stops as a military personnel and you sign for that DD 214, and I'm going to say it again, Sam, nobody wants to sit on the couch and watch Judge Judy and eat bonbons. They still want to serve their communities. They still want to be out there. It's the cloth that we have all cut from, that certain cloth of God that we're all cut from, and we want to give back to the community. So you got a twofold project that you guys are doing for both our veterans leaving the service and to the community and the parents and the children that you serve. So God bless you guys for what you're doing. It's really commendable.
It's quite refreshing. And Matthew, how is there a specific outreach, or do you go to veterans groups? How do you bring these folks into the fold?
So like Lewis said, big thanks to Three Rangers Foundation. He's a mentor for them. So any Rangers that are getting out of the regiment that want to come to the Texas area will get put in contact with him. And working with other organizations, we partner with a lot of veteran organizations. So people who are looking for work, and also organizations that help with mental health, transition, all of these things. So if someone comes to us and maybe security work isn't the best fit for them, we can get them plugged in somewhere else. So that way we're never turning people away. The idea is giving them a place to land, whether that's with us temporarily for long term, or just within our community, and finding something that's a better placement for them. So we actually get a lot of people that reach out to us on our website. We usually get about 3 to 5 different applicants just randomly throughout the week. So what we're doing is working. People, will tag or they'll go to our website and fill out the contact us form, and we get plenty of people that just funnel in, that see us on podcasts like this. We actually got 2 people that reached out to us from y'all's podcast last time.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear. Yeah, that is great. And
those were the 2 people that were watching it. No.
But we have more viewers than 2, guys.
Yeah, and people watch after the live show too. They don't always tune in right away.
Yeah, we've got that, and we want to thank our podcast family. So we're available on every single podcast app. So whatever you have, you can listen there. And with it being PTSD Awareness Month, as part of the vetting process, we have had a lot of police officers that are finally coming out to say, hey, these kinds of traumas happen, and I have this specific, we'll call it a diagnosis for lack of a better term, or something going on. And they are able to get the help that they need and also actively serve successfully. So for you and Lewis and Rachel, in terms of your organization, if you're, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're a veteran, you're going to go through a vetting process, correct? And what does that, if you're allowed to say, it could be top secret, I don't know. What does that vetting process look like so that more people that want to apply can be prepared?
That's really no secret. I think like Matt being a great leader kind of was the one that kind of coined it, but it starts with an interview. You reach out to us. We kind of about the intake form, and then you get a call from us, and we have things that we're looking for, but it's a conversation. We start judging you, just a conversation. And I think most people who've done the job and held a gun for a while kind of can key in on some of the things people say, and you can kind of judge their mental faculties, if they're ready for this, if they're ready to move on, or if they're looking for something. I dare to say that most of the PTSD that the guys that I know, because they were so highly functioning, was, like we said, that missing part of I was something, now I'm not.
Sure.
The other part, and I think the police officers I talked to, again, at Police Week, we talked to a ton of them, and I talked to my dad, and it's that want to be in the hunt again for a lot of us. It's that want to. I was an for a better lack of the term, I was an apex predator on a continent at one point in time, and now I'm baking cookies. And so when we have those conversations with them, we ask them certain things. And once we get those answers, we actually take them out to the range. Then we go out to the range, we do a quick assessment with them, but then there's a conversation there too. How are you doing? What's it? And you can see it in their face. You can see it in their eyes, whether or not they're prepared for that. And a lot of the guys are just ready to move on to the next thing. The other thing we do is we pair with other organizations that have another one's Brothers Compass, that we have a guy talk to him that's trained in this. He'll sit there, he'll talk to him, have a conversation with him, and then maybe we glean that isn't what he's supposed to be doing. At that point, then we pass him off to the foundation, and the foundation still handles him, gives him a place to go, a brotherhood to be a part of. For the guys who do continue it, who do have that are healed and not healed, are ready to move on. Once they're ready, when we glean that they're ready to move on, then we start working them into training. We work them into training. We shadow them with other officers and kind of teach them the difference between what you are doing. Because with security, especially schools and churches, there's a switch that you have to do. It's almost like armed concierge. You have to be, sorry, you have to be,
He's just chiming in. He wants to be part of the conversation.
You have to
Got my dog's looking at the computer right now.
We have so many dogs too, children, dogs. But what I like to say is that when you're at these schools and churches, you got to smile but show teeth. You have to be that nice guy. You have to be there, and you got to be, hey, thank you for being. They say thank you for being here. I was like, thank you for being here. Have a nice day. How are you doing? But you also have to be able to show teeth at the same time, because a lot of it's posture, as we know. When you see a guy in tan pants, looks like a paramilitary contractor standing outside your school or church, tattoos, built, and then you got to wonder, can I beat him in a fight? And I think a lot of time deterrence is our best answer. And so when they see that and they see our guys, it is a very big deterrent of maybe I should go pick another place, maybe a softer target. And so with the PTSD stuff, we take a very, again, holistic approach to it. I've been in the service. I've been diagnosed with PTSD just because I think there's a point when you do that it's almost you can't get away from that diagnosis. But that doesn't mean you're broken. That just means you need to talk about it. You got to handle it, handle it with trained professionals and your friends. And you can't lose tribe mentality.
Amen to that.
Well said. Well said.
Yes.
So that's our vetting process on the front end. On the back end, we have all of your standard vetting for DPS requirements here in the state of Texas. So everyone has to go through an MMPI, which is like a psychological evaluation. We have to do a background check and a drug test on anyone who joins our team. So we're checking open source intel too. We're looking at Facebook posts, any type of social media stuff. So we do a deep dive front end to back end. But the big thing is finding out how guys are doing too, because if they're not a good fit, like Lewis was saying, we get them plugged into the foundation. And if you go to our foundation's website, allegianceproject.org, we have resource pages for veterans specifically. So there's Texas specific resources, there's specialty resources, and then national resources too. And then we also have a resource page for schools as well.
That is awesome. I'm just going to put up your organization
Now,
website here. Yeah, go ahead.
I know you're doing a lot with veterans coming out. Do you hire or take on non-veteran but police officers as well, or just all veterans?
No, both civilian and former police officers too.
Okay, that's because I want to make sure this is open to police officers as well. Let those guys who are listening know, but they don't want the ones that are just going to, the SROs that are going to sit in their back room and play,
right. This is active. Yeah.
Yeah. You still want to be able to do the protection, but you are a multi-layered organization. So if they can't find a spot for you on the front lines, there's a lot of back stuff that you can do as well, right? Mm-hmm. If they have intelligence on site security or camera placement or whatever it is, whatever else you guys do,
Matthew, you've got some specific events that are coming up in a webinar fashion. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we have been asked to do a school safety webinar for the National University Model of Schools, and then the Association of Christian Schools. So we're going to be putting on school safety webinars right before the beginning of schools starts this upcoming fall, really just to get this information out to these schools. And we do these things for free. It's just, we want schools to be prepared. We want them to have solutions, and then we want them to know about our organization as well. And so if any schools, if you're in a school and you're watching this, please reach out to us. We'd love to schedule a course for y'all, whether it's in person in the state of Texas or a webinar online. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I put the website back up. So
could individual teachers say, like my daughter's a teacher and she teaches in the elementary school out over here. If she wanted to join that webinar, could she go on that as just a teacher, or is it got to be part of the school district?
If they want to reach out to us, we can push it out to multiple people. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
And then we'll probably be relying on y'all on how we can put that webinar out, because we don't do a lot of podcast and webinar stuff. So I'm going to be reaching out to you, Sam, and figuring out how me, Steve, and Lewis can get in there and look professional on camera and on a podcast.
Deal. There's a lot of cool ways to do that.
Yep.
So, okay, we've got allegianceproject.com is the main site for the security. And then we've got allegianceproject.org. You can go to either one, the .com, and I put up the .org. Get in touch with Lewis, Rachel, or Matt. Register for the upcoming webinar. But, it's a great place to ask questions. Rachel talked about her fireside chats with the Girl Scout troops. Well, there's like Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts, and there's lots of scouts. And don't be afraid, because I always say there's no dumb question. And if you have that question, guaranteed 3 to 5 other people in your circle have the same question. And we've got to start really, I want to say we've got to start being prepared. We should always come at this being prepared. And it always seems to be a game of catch up. And what's left hanging in the wind are our kiddos. And frankly, they deserve better. Doesn't matter what ISD you're in. The lawmakers have to take this seriously, because all they want is their name on a law. I mean, let's be real, right? That's how they want to get elected. But the funds need to be seriously considered, so that we can never, ever, ever have another Uvalde here in Texas, and just frankly, across the U.S. But we'll take Texas first because we're our own country.
That's right.
So, yeah, we want to thank you guys for coming on.
Yes.
Rachel and Matthew coming back on. Louis, it was a pleasure having you on, learning about your background, and keep doing this amazing work. Yes. It truly is a game changer, and every parent, and I'll just say every school administrator, they should be breathing a sigh of relief that you have men and women that have extra special skills that want to continue their service protecting kids around Texas.
Yep.
So,
well, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
We're blessed by the opportunity. Thanks for having us again. This has been fantastic.
Absolutely. Will you all be safe out there, and we'll be in touch.
We'll do. We've got Rachel.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right. Bye.
Amazing.
Yes. Yes. And I really do mean that when you really can take a step back and look at, okay, what does my school need? Put like money aside and really do the assessment. And lots of school districts have their security team, and it's called an admin, call it security. And what they need to do is get with the folks like Matt and Louis and Rachel. And it's like, hey, can you come out here? Let's do an assessment and button it up. And then you sit down. This is what we're looking at. This is the funds that we have, and you work it out.
Yeah.
Because again, the kids are the one left flapping in the breeze, because once they're dropped off, we're trusting the schools with our kids' safety, and we already know that that's not.
You just said it, Sam. You got some school administrator doing a threat assessment who has really had no experience in an actual threat assessment, background. They just gave that person that title, said, hey, here's what you do. These are the people you need. This is the team, Matthew, Louis, Rachel. You need these people out of your school to do an actual 100%, threat assessment on the school. Somebody who has been there and has thousands of hours of training. That's what you need to do. You don't need some, fly-by-night security company coming over there going, yeah, well, we'll put a camera here. We'll put it. You don't need that. You need these guys to come in and do a walk around and really, really inform and aware everybody on the potential threat that could happen.
Absolutely. And you know what? I saw our friends. I got to see Amanda at East Texas Legends Coffee Company. I'm just going to put the slide up here at Canton First Monday. And so East Texas Legends Coffee Company, it is our favorite coffee in the whole wide world. Founded by Ben and Amanda Holmes. You can find out about their amazing story. They were featured in our season 2. It reflects their journey from Ben's Marine Corps service and law enforcement career, overcoming post-traumatic stress to finding purpose in ranching. Relocating to an East Texas ranch, they identified a need for a local coffee brand. Now they're opening their first coffee shop in Lindale, Texas, rooted in faith, family, and community. Their mission, inspire purposeful conversations over coffee. So drink coffee and be legendary. Go to etxlegendscoffee.com. Use promo code BADGE for 15% off coffee and merchandise. That's coffee and merchandise every week. Yay, Tumblr.
I got to get another one.
It's 96 degrees out here. I do cold coffee, and partner, you got a care package coming your way. So I know your daughter kept your tumbler because it's an incredible tumbler.
No, she won't give it back. I've asked her numerous times.
Exactly. So take advantage of that 15% off ship anywhere.
Before you go on to your thing, can I just promote the 99 real quick?
My thing, yes, go.
Yeah. Well, I just want to. A very good friend of ours, both of ours, the Thin Blue Line, Life Behind the Badge. This Wednesday on the 99% Radio Network, Michael Barron's going to be on to promote this book. It's an amazing book. Mike is the founder of the Blues magazine, the largest online subscription magazine in the country for our law enforcement. Tune in at 4:00 to the 99, and you'll hear from Mike and all about his book and how you can get his book.
Great book.
You can check us out on the 9 Cent Radio Network with Mike Barron.
Incredible stories that will make you laugh, because he is a comedian at heart, and make you take notice and be like, did he really do that? But no, it's a great read. Glad you're having him on. You know, Oh, good.
And the Blues magazine, the Blues online, go check it out. Chock full. I mean, it grew to now it fits every officer's aspects, from mental health to tactics to police gear. Everything you need is right on there.
And he was out at Police Week as well. He was there. So thank you to all of the officers out there, all of our law enforcement. Thank you for what you do. You have prayer warriors praying for your safe return home every night. Thank you for keeping our communities safe. To all of our veterans out there, thank you for fighting the good fight that allows John and I to do a show like this every single week. To our active duty personnel spread out across the globe, thank you. We know there's stuff going on every single day. Thank you for staying in that fight. Thank you for keeping our shores safe here at home. John, take us home.
All right, I want to thank Carry the Load once again for Memorial May. It was an amazing time. Thank you for having a badge of honor, being a nonprofit partner. That was once again an amazing thing. We are in June, Post-Traumatic Stress Awareness Month. Yes. Find your purpose. Find your purpose. Everybody struggles. Everybody battles. But if you find your purpose, you will win the fight. Until next week, peace.
Take care, everybody.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBM Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBM Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.